get to the bag, ayy. Got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when the lane moving fast, ayy, ayy. Let them all cross. If they hate, then let them hate and make a bigger boss, ayy.
Hey guys, before we jump into the episode, I wanted to let you know it is brought to you by Revenova, the official TMS provider for the Freight Coach. You guys, I've been a broker for a long time, and the tools that are at your disposal with Revenova help you eliminate bouncing between systems, which improves your accuracy when you are managing multiple tasks throughout your workday. Plus, it's built into the Salesforce cloud, so your CRM is fully integrated with your TMS, eliminating yet another silo. In today's day and age, you are definitely concerned about the safety of your data. With Revenova, it's fully protected. They have cutting-edge security that keeps your information safe so you can focus on what matters most, and that's growing your business. Speaking of growing your business, with Rate and Lane IQ, you get real-time pricing and route recommendations, helping you optimize costs and improve operational efficiencies, which ultimately helps you make smarter decisions. If you are like me and have recurring shipments from non-EDI customers, they have intuitive cloning features that let you easily replicate previous shipments, saving both shipper and carrier rates with just a few taps. If you are ready to learn more, visit www.revenova.com to request a demo. Just do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. This episode is brought to you by SPI Logistics, the premier freight agent logistics firm in North America. For over 40 years, SPI has been diligently building the most successful freight agent network to provide first-class relationships for our shippers, receivers, and carrier partners. We are more than another transportation network. We are a dedicated team of professionals united by one singular purpose, and that is to expedite our agents' success. All of our agents are set up for success on day one, as they are provided with a full suite of support staff that is ready to assist them with everything from after-hours emergencies to financial and administrative needs on a no-fee basis. This way, you can focus on continuing to grow your business. There is no financial risk to start, and you have the ability to earn up to 75% in commissions. If you are looking to take control of your financial future and build your business with the backing of one of the most successful logistics firms in North America, visit www.spi3pl.com to learn more. Do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insights into what you can do with all of this information. This is your first time tuning in. Welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I do say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Monday, everybody. We are rolling solo today. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing our lane analysis powered by my friends over at DAT. We're going to be breaking down a couple of industry headlines for you guys. And yeah, so let's jump right in, you guys. Again, this is This Week in Freight powered by my friends at DAT. You guys, it's a 3 times a week lane analysis. All right. This is 100% viewer submitted. So if you want your lane broken down on the show, I need you to email my team, podcast@thefreightcoach.com. And again, we're just helping you guys identify where the peak seasonalities come from out there throughout the year, so you guys can read these markets and apply it. This is a personal strategy I've utilized throughout the entirety of my career, and it's what we currently use to service our growing book of business out there. So this week for Drive In, we got Kansas City, Missouri going to Memphis, Tennessee. This is a great regional run, as you guys can see up here on the screen. First thing I always look at is miles. Why do I do that? Transit time matters. Days of the week matter on when a lane like this is going to ship. Monday through Thursday, this is going to be a great lane for those drivers out there. If this is a Friday to Monday, this is where you could see a little bit of a higher price point out there in regards to your rates. So it's like when you see some of these rate data out here, that's where you can see it might be a little bit higher to ship it for a Friday to Monday. But like I've been mentioning here, you guys, lanes have stabilized. They've been stable for quite some time now. Again, not saying that there isn't pockets of volatility that you could come across out there in the market, but if we're looking at it from the overview of this lane, it's stabilized and it's performing almost identical of how it did back in 2025. And that's what's most important, you guys. I want you guys to find out how these lanes perform annually, because as you see, last year it was significantly less. We were talking about like 30 some percent less on this lane, but there was between July, August, and September, it stayed stable. And we're starting to see that completely here, June, July, and now into August. I know it's only the 10th. It's still early in the month and things could change. But, again, we see that stabilization point, and then you will see it probably increase a little bit in September into October. It'll dip probably between Halloween and right around Thanksgiving. And then, as you can see, it will shoot up there around Christmas time and everything else. And again, just pay attention to this stuff, right? Because for me, what I personally like to do, and we were talking with my friend Brandon on the show on Friday, is we want to find how this lane performs so we can get ahead of a potential price drop or rate increase out there. Because, sometimes we're running and gunning more often than not on this. And we got to bring that stability and that consistency to our customers, because as you can see, rates don't change as much as some people out there want you to believe. It's a lot more stable. It's a lot harder to find those carriers who are running these lanes 24/7, 365, but it's how you stay below market and can provide a better service overall. I mean, it's just something that we have relied on here this year in particular, as we're going through a market shift, right? Like, we have spent these past couple of years identifying carriers who run specific lanes that my customers have out there, and we've kept them rolling this entire time. And right now in particular, we're able to stay ahead of the market in that regard. So again, with this lane in particular, it's seemingly stabilized out there, and it's probably going to perform this way here for a little bit. You'll see a little bit of an increase here in September, as you can see. But again, pay attention to this, right? Most of these lanes perform identical year in and year out. The only difference is going to be the price, which none of us can control out there. And, if you would have came in at this point last year and told your customer about a rate increase, they would have told you to kick rocks, right? But right now, people will pay more money. They're going to pay what it takes to move the freight. And if you are working in a volatile market where capacity is tight out there, again, get that truck in hand, present it for whatever day of the week that you have it for, and work that off-market style out there. But that's This Week in Freight, powered by my friends over at DAT, you guys. That was Kansas City, Missouri, going to Memphis, Tennessee. And now let's see here. With this, I had to pull up some articles last minute here because we had a last minute change in the show. But a couple of them are, I'm tying them in because obviously cargo theft is going to continuously be one of the biggest talking points out there. But cyber cargo theft, and this is something that I've, me and my friends at the NMFTA have been talking about extensively here on the show, it's shifting, right? And now the data out there in regards to this is kind of aligning with it, right? Because I think at times we only talk about what's going on in the moment, but most people aren't looking at the fact that a lot of these schemes are evolving nonstop, right? And then with more and more of a reliance of doing everything digital transactions and such, you're going to see people shift how they are going, shift with how they are going to go about this. So the first article, you guys, is from ttnews.com. Grand jury indicts 8 in cargo theft scheme tied to hacked data. The indictment describes a multi-state operational involving food products, copper rods, and cigarette shipments. So with this, you guys, cargo thieves are increasingly shifting away from the physical break-ins to cyber-enabled strategic theft. And with this, you guys, you got to look at everything that you are using from a digital component is exposed, and it is going to be targeted out there. So this was led by an alleged, again, all of this is alleged, Uzbek mastermind. A cargo theft gang has been indicted for stealing $4.49 million in retail goods using information from hackers who penetrated legitimate companies. The accused thieves interacted with other criminal syndicates who conducted phishing scams to hack and steal shipment information. Organized crime syndicate hackers infiltrated normal shipping processes by impersonating real trucking companies to win shipments, bids on load boards. The syndicate fraudulently secured load information for specific deliveries from victim brokers. We believe that many small businesses were harmed by this theft. some of which will may not be able to financially recover from it. Furthermore, the intersection of sophisticated online hacking and large-scale theft is deeply concerning and will only grow more prevalent. We are using every tool available to stay ahead of this emerging trend. Again, the cybersecurity conference at the NMFTA, it's a subtle plug to this, but this is why it is so important for you guys to attend events like this, right? Like they do tabletop exercises. They work with you on how to digitally protect your company. And again, it's one of the most cost-effective conferences in the entire syndicate that's out there. And again, they've been talking about this stuff for like 5 years now. So it's like the fact that we're seeing it catch up to mainstream, you guys, is not surprising at all. So it's like you got to get ahead of this stuff now. Otherwise, we're going to be in a really tough spot. It goes on to say that Muradulo Kazanov is a citizen in Uzbekistan, is accused of coordinating and managing at least 6 multi-state schemes. An Interpol report said they used WhatsApp, Telegram, and everything else. And the defendants allegedly received the winning bids from hacker groups with whom the defendants coordinated these activities. They would allegedly lease tractor trucks and affix the name and registration number of the real shipping carrier that were supposed to make the pickup. They would then drive to the logistics center. So again, like as you guys see all over social media, people with those paper company logos on the side of their truck, probably a red flag that is out there. But, again, it goes, cargo was apparently stolen from logistics sites in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Virginia. And then they were each, all right, let me see here. Hold on. All right, perfect. So, they were, again, when they're sending out phishing, those fraudulent links and everything else, the key risk that was identified out there is using the same password for literally everything, unencrypted API integrations, phishing emails, targeting brokers and dispatchers are creating a major digital entry point for cargo thieves out there. The digital, okay. So it's like, they don't need, if you're looking at it from this perspective, and again, this is something that we've talked about and discussed on this show for quite some time, the traditional or like the old school way of stealing freight isn't necessary anymore, right? Like I'm convinced of this, you guys, that this is state-sponsored terrorism at its finest. They have found a way to infiltrate our supply chain, to reroute a lot of this stuff. And there's no, holding up people like they used to steal cargo. They're rerouting these things. And again, like they're utilizing their own carrier network that is here in the States, or it's the double brokering scheme that's out there where the legitimate providers are the ones who are paying the ultimate price for this because they're not going to get that invoice and it's going to potentially bankrupt them, right? So, it's like this hack data, like they're getting access to all of this stuff. So it's like if you're out there posting freight, and I see this, right? Like we study the markets that we move freight in all the time. Some of you guys are legitimately posting the commodity in your load posting out there. So if you're doing that, you got to stop immediately. Okay. Like that, you're just putting the big target on your back right away. Like you legitimately don't need to do that to gain interest. If you're posting loads out there on the load board, you don't need to put the commodity. I personally would never do that. Because again, you're literally just putting a target on your back for high value goods and stuff like that. And, it's like, I look at it from like a phishing perspective. They don't just target large logos, right? And I think that's like the majority of the industry is small business, right? So a lot of smaller companies out there they think they're never going to get noticed from stuff like this. They're never going to be targeted. But I had one of those one of the episodes we did on cyber crimes. You guys, it's a lot easier to steal $1 from 100 people than $100 from one person, right? So it's like your business is not too small to fall into the hands of this stuff. And that's something that we very much need to be aware of at this point. And, it's like, I look at it where, I have this happen. I had this happen 3 times in the last 60 days where it was somebody acting as a shipper, emailing me, asking for credit application, asking for me to pick up this freight. Again, I'm not the worst sales rep in the world, but I'm definitely not that good where people just reach out to me directly in freight and tell me that they want me to handle all these shipments for them, right? So there's a lot of things that we're kind of overlooking in that moment. And then again, if you're booking freight out there, if you're a carrier rep, make sure you're not. I would advise against, and this is something that we personally never do. If you're posting stuff out there and your email address is posted and the load posting, I will never book a load via email without talking to people, talk to the dispatcher, talk to the driver, all of that stuff. So it's like a lot of these things, you guys, I'm not saying that are completely avoidable because like they're getting really, really good out there. But I just look at it where we need to keep those checks and balances in place to protect our organizations and to protect our customers at the end of the day, because they're able to use these new methodologies because again, they can now go in and steal a lot more freight and they don't need to be anywhere near here. And I don't know. I look at it where it's like you need to audit your tech stack. You need to audit your tech vendors. Like again, the NMFTA, shameless plug, go to their website. They have a questionnaire that you should be asking all of your tech vendors out there. Okay. Or do they have secure systems that are in place? Are you working with your team on phishing emails and everything else? Like there's very simple, well-documented steps that you guys can utilize to protect your organization out there because it just needs one, right? And then in another way, because I had this conversation in another podcast I was on. And sometimes some of these crime rings, they use the slow play tactic where they do the right thing for quite some time because it's like phishing, but in a sense of like they're trying to see and get access to more and more of your freight to see like, is this the most valuable stuff that you have out there? And then they get that 10 shipment win from one of your larger shippers and 10 shipments vanish overnight, right? Like there's been a couple of documented cases out there that have happened like that. So take that into consideration. You guys audit who your tech providers are, educate yourself on cyber and how you can protect your organization. And again, if you don't know where to start, go to the NMFTA's website. Yes, they're a supporter of this show, but they have a ton of free information out there for you guys to protect your company. And again, it's like, it's wild to see what some of these hackers need to be able to get in and bypass your system to potentially get into your customer systems and stuff like that, right? Like there is no shortage of opportunities that people are exposed to now at that environment. So again, check that out, you guys. This article, ttnews.com, and it is, titled "Grand Jury Indicts 8 in Cargo Theft Scheme Tied to Hacked Data." And Corey, I think that's a good point, man. I don't know if like taking it off is going to solve anything, but like I would just actively choose to never post any of that stuff in there. I never post commodities in our postings at all. When we do go out to the open network, I never do that because to me, that's just putting such a big target on your back. And it's just an unnecessary step out there. I'd rather talk to the carrier on the phone 100% of the time, right? Like that's why inside of my organization, we're never going to have AI carrier reps. I know that there's people out there who can make an argument, do all that stuff, whatever. But for me personally, I need to have that human to human conversation about things because there's just some very simple questions that I ask that very much identifies the level of how full of shit some of these guys are. All right, to put it bluntly. And it's a very easy workaround if you know what to ask out there and what to look for. And I just look at it as the further that you remove the human from it. And again, there's no merit or proof behind this. Is just a complete gut statement. I would love to see the amount of stolen cargo and how it was tied to a digital transaction at some point to see, is there an actual increase in those cases where it's like they found that access point into your system, digital load booking, where there is no human ever talking to these individuals. And if there's an increase in cargo theft with those style of shipments out there, I'd love to see that data point. I hope somebody puts it together because my gut tells me that that's a very leading cause of what is driving a lot of this stuff. All right, now, next article is from freightwaves.com. And this is CargoNet reports $304.6 million in losses. Scott Cornell says Q2 theft drop is not a trend yet. Let me see here. And then CargoNet documented 677 theft reports, down 26% year over year, but average reported shipment value jumped to $564,000. Fewer cargo theft reports did not mean smaller losses out there. But estimated cargo losses did climb to 304.6 million during that 3-month period of Q2, a figure that more than doubled in that time frame from Q2 of 2025. The average reported commodity value reached $564,000. And again, we put the links to the articles up there. You guys, there's some graphics out there. I'm going to read off of it. But the top 3 targeted states: number 1, California; number 2, Texas; number 3, New Jersey. Top commodity types that were stolen: food and beverage and metal. Pretty much aligns with everything that is out there. And and then the top targeted location types: warehouse and distribution centers, and then truck stops. That way of just popping seals and everything on trucks still is an effective way to steal freight, unfortunately. But again, if you've never been in a situation where you've had your like if you're moving some of these high risk commodity types with your customers, you guys, and there is no SOP in place for cargo security and stuff like that. Because again, I don't know if this is still proven in today's environment. But back when I was getting trained up in this industry and we were moving very high value goods in beverages, is what they were, very easy to liquidate on the streets. And there was a 10-step SOP that we had to follow for every single shipment that we would send in to a couple of their distribution centers that we were servicing. We weren't servicing their entire network. One of them was in Southern California. And it was very basic stuff. But again, it's like, work with your customers on that, develop some of those things, because those deter, right? Like, again, requirements deter. They're looking for easy access to, and like the path of least resistance. Keep that in mind. So again, like, talk about a value add you could bring into your customer. Because at this point, you guys, it's not just specific types of commodities, right? Like it's literally everything. And you got to look at it from a, how easy could you liquidate this shipment, right? Like, look at a load of Q-tips or something along those lines, right? Like, I'm just throwing out examples. How fast could somebody liquidate this, and what steps are you putting in place? And you should bring that to your customer as a requirement to help offset some of this stuff. But it goes on to say in this article, one quarter does not establish a trend. Scott Cornell he had said that, he described that the decrease was as welcome news after years where activities stayed elevated. Cornell also urged the industry to avoid treating one quarter as proof of a broader shift. It's not going to be a trend until we see it for maybe 2 or 3 quarters consecutively. Cornell noted that cargo theft numbers have historically moved up and down. He said recent law enforcement arrests could be contributing to the quarterly decrease. Those efforts out there, we're going to talk about that in the next article, so I won't bring that up. But CargoNet's data, showed declines in physical thefts involving loaded equipment and non-delivery schemes. These schemes involve bad actors acquiring established motor carriers, booking freight under their operating authority, then failing to deliver it, i.e. what we were talking about in the last article. You guys, fictitious pickup incidents move far less, falling from 165 reports to 158. CargoNet also found steady activity involving business email compromises and shipment misdirection, i.e. what we were just talking about in that last article out there. And then it did, again, if you look at it, $300 million in Q2 alone of stolen cargo, like, we're well over, if this averages out, we're well over $1 billion in stolen cargo. That's reported, right? Like, I look at it, you guys, as depending on the cargo value of the shipment and not wanting to get your insurance involved and stuff like that. I don't know this for a fact, but If it's, hey, the shipment was only valued at, say, $10,000, and what a stolen shipment would do to your insurance rates overall, I wouldn't be surprised if people are paying some of this stuff out of pocket to avoid going through insurance and what that would do to their premiums and stuff like that, right? So again, it's like when we see this stuff, just because there's it, like I think Scott Cornell summarized it perfectly. It's a welcome data point that's out there, but it's not saying that everything's good, right? Like we need multiple consecutive quarters for that to happen. But it's like, again, I think from the overall cargo theft numbers that we're seeing out there, now the average load value going up. So I think it's very important to note that if you are moving high value cargo of any kind and you're a broker, and, again, I understand brokers don't need insurance, right? Every shipper out there with real cargo is probably going to require you to have insurance. But buying a rider to cover that additional amount, you guys, is crucial more times than not. Yeah, in a perfect world, you're always going to find carriers that have $250,000 insurance or $500,000 of insurance, cargo insurance, and you're going to be good and you're not going to have to buy riders. But your ability to buy a rider as a broker opens up a big world of freight opportunities that are out there. It's something that we personally do because not every carrier that we book out there has the insurance, right? Like if it's a $110,000 shipment in cargo value and they have $100,000, we purchase that $10,000 rider out there. And we just do that because, again, I want to do the right thing and protect my customers' freight. But, I look at this, you guys, where we're at a very unique time, and this is never a bad time to audit your processes, to audit your systems in place. And if you do have customers out there that are moving some of these commodities that are at a high risk and you notice that they don't have an SOP in place, I would offer to work with them on creating one to help protect their freight, you guys, because ultimately that's what we need to do. We need to protect our customers' freight and go from there. But that article, you guys, was from FreightWaves, and it was CargoNet reports 304.6 million in losses. And yeah, check that one out. And then the third and final article, you guys, is from overdriveonline.com. And FMCSA bars ICE grill illegal drivers out there. And give me just 2 seconds here. And we've already kind of talked about this a couple weeks back, but the FMCSA doing their operational highway shield, and it's an intensive roadside enforcement targeting non-compliant drivers, ELD tampering, and other violations that are out there. And, it's like, I look at this, that one of the biggest positives out this is they're accelerating this, right? Like they're not just talking at the FMCSA, they are doing a lot, and I think like when they were placing agents at the scales and stuff like that was like one of the, because I look at it, the fear of being caught is going to drive a lot of these petty criminals away from this stuff, right? Like that and strict punishments. Like I'm a massive fan of dropping the hammer on a lot of these individuals out there when they're caught in this, but they are removing non-compliant drivers and fraudulent CDLs off of the market, which is a major, major win for highway safety. And it's a major win for the industry and for the people who are doing it right? Like I've always talked about, when it boils down to it, I want to protect the legitimate providers that are the owner operators, trucking companies, and brokers who are doing the right thing. Because when it's the Wild West and a lot of this stuff is it just goes unchecked, most small businesses are one bad transaction away from going out of business. And yeah, so the fact that they're hammering this down is such a welcome sight. And, again, as a broker, a lot of cases have came out here recently about how bad things could get for you in the event that you book the wrong truck. All right. You need to be going through your vetting processes as a continuous thing, not just at the setup alone. You have to continuously be monitoring your network to make sure that these people are performing at your company's standards. And, I look at it where this, like having them, placing them at the scales, that is one of the best sites out there, because I think it's going, like, I would love to see them continue to increase it. Honestly, I would love to see them do that, take more corrective measures to remove this and again, at least deter people. And they were never deterred from operating for the last who knows how long this has been going on, right? Where it's like we're at a point now where just the sheer presence of DOT, ICE, everything at the scale house is going to naturally deter this. And again, if you are caught, severe punishments, right? Like I've stated on the show numerous times out there. But again, they're doing this multiple times. It's not just the once a year during the DOT Blitz Week. Like they've done a couple of these now. I think this is like the third or the fourth one that they've done to audit these carriers out there to make sure that they are compliant and they are not breaking the law. But that article was from overdriveonline.com. And that's going to be it for today, you guys. As always, if you got value in what you heard and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the show, you guys. And if you're feeling ambitious, rank that show on iTunes and Spotify, because if you see value, your network's going to see it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon.
Came back with a bang. Window down, yelling out money.